Hello, welcome to Evidence for Faith. It's your host, Michael Lane. So glad you're joining us today as we continue in our series on Devos by the Sea. And you've been listening to me talk about different types of things having to do with God and evidence of God and just nice science devotionals taking place in a tropical, island setting. Well, today we got a special treat. And this is going to be starting something a little new. I have somebody else here in the studio with me, one of our other staff members, and she is also writing and helping us write these Devos by the Sea. And since she wrote this lesson here, I just figured, why don't we just let her do it? So let me just, first of all, before we get into it, just give you a little, we'll do a little question and answer thing so you get to know who we're talking about. This is Michaela Vorwerk, who is my daughter. And if you followed our website, she's one of the latest people to come on. And your position is?
I am the communications manager.
Right, which means anything dealing with communication, she does it. Plus, she does a lot more because I'm swamped. But anyway, how in the world did you ever get so interested in all this marine biology and devotions by the sea stuff?
Well, because I had the opportunity to grow up going on our marine biology trip, which you guys should totally check out, especially if you have any high school students or if you are a high school student. It's especially ideal for homeschool groups. But I was lucky. I got to grow up going on the trip since I was in my mom's tummy, in fact. And so that's really sparked a love of the ocean for me and a huge passion. I've become a scuba diver, and I'm also one of the teachers on the trip as well.
Yeah, so you have been going on this practically your entire life. And so being there at the ocean has just been a major part of your life. Matter of fact, you're even a scuba diver and doing all this having to do with the ocean and can't wait to get back to the ocean. Well, anyway, just wanted to let you know who she is and who's going to be doing some of these. I'll still be doing some, but she has written many of these also. Michaela's a very good writer, and she's put together some of these devotions, and we're going to let her do this. So I'm going to turn it over now to Michaela and let her give you a devotion by the sea.
All right, thank you. I love the ocean. I always say that I should have been a mermaid. Anytime I go to the sea, I love to snorkel and scuba dive in its depths, admiring all of God's wonderful underwater creatures. When I'm sitting on the ocean floor, I feel like I am home. So I'm sure you can imagine how hard it was for me when we had our annual marine biology trip to the Florida Keys this past year, and I was unable to scuba dive, let alone snorkel, due to a broken leg I had suffered a couple months prior to the trip. Though my leg was healed enough for me to at least get into the water at the beach, my leg was not ready for the strain of kicking and the push of the currents that would be required for me to dive, let alone snorkel. It crushed me, gazing at the aqua waters, knowing I would not be able to explore beneath the waves. One day while we were on our trip in the Keys, I was feeling quite discouraged. Not only was I missing out on seeing God's creation under the water, but I was feeling frustrated of still being in the confines of my wheelchair and crutches. I'm quite an active person, and this injury was very taxing on me, and on this day, I was really feeling the effects. My husband was taking the boat out to take a group of students to snorkel on a grass flat, and thinking that being on the boat on the open ocean may help my mood, I asked him if I could tag along. Riding on the boat did indeed help. Even though I was still above the waves, it was still a wonderful feeling to be so much closer to the sea. As we entered the bay, Ethan slowed the boat and began scanning for a good place to drop anchor and let the students hop out to do some exploring. But suddenly, he exclaimed and pointed up ahead to an area in the water that was clearly churned up sand. It wasn't a very large area, probably about 50 feet in diameter, of murky, sandy water, and we knew instantly that something was feeding over the flats. Ethan cut the engine, and I immediately started scanning the surface, hoping for some clue as to what was causing this. And I was delighted when I got my answer as a gray snout poked its way out of the water and 2 nostrils took a deep breath. It was a manatee. And not just one manatee, but we saw it was a group of about 4 more. And then there were a few more. And more. And we counted, and there had to have been about 15 manatees scattered across the grass flat. I quickly encouraged my students on the boat to gear up and hop in the water to see if they could swim with the gentle giants. And while it would have been a wonderful experience for myself to have been able to swim with those manatees, I was thrilled to get to see them from where I was sitting on the boat. I knew immediately that this was not a coincidence that we just so happened to come upon this family of manatees. I knew it was a gift from God. I felt as though God was saying to me, I see you, and if you can't explore the wonders of sea life under the waves, then I'll bring them to you at the surface, because I see you. God sees me, and he has compassion on me. This experience with the manatees reminded me of the story of Hagar in Genesis 16, when she fled into the desert after being mistreated by Sarai, later to be known as Sarah. When Hagar thought no one would see her in the desert, the Lord found her and had compassion on her. This is the passage where God receives the name El Roi. She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. You are the God who sees me. For she said, I have now seen the one who sees me. And that's Genesis 16:13 from the NIV translation. I felt like I was alone in my suffering, as though I was in my own desert. But yet God sought me out. He sent this beautiful gift of the manatees to remind me that he sees me. He sees me in my pain and suffering. He sees me in my sadness and my isolation. And he will not only join me there, but he will also deliver me from it. Another story came to mind found in Luke 7. Here Jesus was walking into the city of Nain when a widow passed him carrying her dead son out of the city gate. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said to her, Do not weep. Luke 7:13 from the ESV translation. What I love about this story is that God saw her, and out of his compassion for her, he approached her. She didn't come to him, but he first came to her. He loved her so much that he wanted to help her and show her mercy. So many times it's us coming to God and then we receive his blessings, which is important. We do need to seek God. But I just love that sometimes Jesus will seek us first, just because he loves us that much. What kind of king would seek out a lowly peasant just because they love them? Jesus saw me that day. He found me in the desert of my pain and my sadness. He saw me feeling depressed and alone, and he had compassion on me, and he sent me a precious gift. And the gift wasn't just the manatees. Yes, they were cute, and it was a fantastic experience in nature. But the greatest gift was a reminder of how much God loves me and the compassion that he so mercifully bestows on me. And God loves you this much too. He sees you when you are struggling. He sees you in your depression and isolation. He sees you in your pain and your suffering. Be reminded that God is with you. Maybe he will come to you in nature like he did for me. Maybe he will come to you in the stillness of a quiet whisper of comfort. Or maybe he will find you through a friend. God sees you, and he has compassion on you.
Well, that's a great story there. And yeah, it was a fun time. I didn't get the opportunity of being on the boat and getting to see the manatees this time, but that is quite an experience. And God often does seek us out. He knows when we're hurting. He knows our pain, our suffering. And you're right. He is always there for us, and he loves us so much. So thanks, Michaela. And for those who are listening, she'll be bringing more of these little devotions to help you along as we continue in this series. We do thank you for joining us and would ask that you pray for Evidence for Faith. And if God puts upon your heart to help us out financially, that would be greatly appreciated, because it is expensive to do these kind of things. And it's a ministry. We're nonprofit, and we're just trying to get the word of God out to people. So thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Michaela. And until we meet again, take care, and may God bless.